Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the tutorials about short stories. This is part 3. So if you haven't seen part 1 or part 2, take a look. We're going to dive into part 3, where it's about how the teacher can model their own practice. All right, so part 3, the teacher has to model. It's a kind of a strange phrase, but modeling the writing practice, right? Whatever your process is. This was something, again, that nobody really told me about when I first started teaching. But once I started writing in front of and alongside my students, everything changed in the classroom. I became a better writer. I became a better teacher. The students saw me as part of the community, and they felt free to take risks, to try things, and their stories became even better because of it. And I'll tell you, part of the reason I became a better writer is because my students were helping me. They were helping me with ideas, and short story is definitely one of those times that you need people to help you with ideas when you're stuck. So you're going to model your practice of selecting your topic to write the short story. Yes, you're going to write one too. You can't expect your students to write stuff that you're not willing to do. We have to do it, right? We have to know how hard it is, how long it takes, how many words you need. And so this is really important. Okay. So I want to show you that I had to go into my notebook. I don't know if you can see. Here's my notebook from this year. Okay. I could do one of the story starters, but I want to show you that I have to find ideas in my own notebook. So this is what I would do for my students. I would open up my notebook and I would flip through the pages, and here's one page, right? This is from this year, February. So we were doing one of our Write Into the Days in one of my classes. And one of the topics was about like a roller coaster image. So I wrote for about 5 or 7 minutes. It's hard for you to see. It's okay. You don't need to see it. It's not for you. It's for me. But I would tell the students, I wrote this thing about this roller coaster, and that we were like upside down on the roller coaster. And I was with my sister, but not me, because this is fiction, the main character was with her sister. The main character remains like very calm on the outside, but is freaking out on the inside. Now, in all honesty, that's a lot like how I am. And that's okay. I'm writing realistic fiction, and I'm basing the character off me a little bit. But I'm kind of making up stuff about the sister. So let me just take you into what I have so far. The roller coaster had stopped and we were left upside down. The we is what's important here. If it were me, then I would have remained calm on the outside and slowly begun to freak out on the inside, breathing, waiting for someone to come fix the darn contraption. Maybe I would have looked around to explore options. Maybe not. But I was not alone. I was with her, my sister, and she was not remaining calm on the outside. She never did. It was always about her. Okay. So this is just the beginning. So we want to go back to some of our questions, like, what am I going to do next? And I would say to the students, I don't know where the story is going to go exactly. I only had 5 minutes in my draft. This is all I have. So what does this main character want more than anything? So I have to think about the narrator here. What does the narrator want more than anything? And maybe the narrator wants to be authentic, right? If the narrator is freaking out, she wants to show that she's freaking out. If the narrator, sounds like the narrator is always in the shadow of her sister. So maybe the narrator wants to understand the sister better, or the narrator wants to step out and say what she needs, have some agency, right? So maybe the story here is that the main character needs an opportunity for agency, and in her idea that her sister is the obstacle, but her sister's not the obstacle, it's her. She needs to step up and shine, but maybe she's afraid to shine. So she needs an opportunity to sort of shine, and she needs an opportunity for her sister to step to the side, and maybe they have a nice ending where they work it all out. Okay, so now I would just, see, talking it out helped. I'm going to go write now, right? I'm going to write. I also had another page in my notebook that was actually kind of a poem based on a fictional kind of poem, and it's a total mess here. And I don't really know what was happening in this, but here's what I have. As the crescent moon tilts in the breeze, I see your shadow dance, wings glistening in her window pane. She opens her eyes as she pulls the comforter in, and she sees you too. Wondering if the time is now for a wish under this crescent moon to the fairies dance beyond the window pane. Is it dust or is it dreams? Okay. So when I wrote this, it's kind of feels kind of creepy. Like the narrator is watching a girl in her comforter and some fairies outside the window. So maybe the girl is a sister. Maybe the girl is a sister and she's can see the fairies while the sister's sleeping. So maybe this could be like the sister is magical in some ways, and only like a magical being can see magical beings. And I could make this into kind of a fantasy, right? And so maybe this story is about, what does this character want? The character wants to be her true self. And maybe needs an opportunity. Maybe her true self is a fairy or has fairy qualities. And maybe she makes a wish, but the obstacle is that she doesn't get to make the wish. She has to like grant somebody's wish. I don't know. I would have to write about this, but that might be my story. So I would talk to the students about, again, circling back to, what does the main character want? What are the obstacles? And how do I end this so I can have a theme, right? Okay, so thinking about this section, I don't know how you felt about like what listening to me talk about my short story probably helped you think about how to teach short story, because you have your draft and you kind of have to keep thinking through these questions. So the short story and personal narratives have really similar checklists because they are short narrative story pieces. They have a beginning, a middle, an end. They use techniques, dialogue, sensory language, symbolism, metaphor, alliteration. Those would be some of the things that you could teach in your mini lessons. So if you need some tips on how to choose what you want to teach during the short story unit, I have a mini lesson about a tutorial about teaching grammar and craft moves and things like that. But this might be a checklist that you could use with your students as they're working on their drafts or doing their peer conferencing. All right, so thank you so much for being with me today to talk about short story and writing fiction. Part 1, mentor texts. Part 2, looking for ideas in our notebooks. And part 3, being the teacher who models their writing life for the students. So I hope that this was helpful for you. Please reach out if you have any questions or want me to talk to anyone in your department to see how you can make this come alive in your classroom. And in the meantime, I hope that you keep writing.